Thank you all so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, my name is Keela Trishan and I make videos on lifestyle, womanhood, and mental health. And if you are returning, thank you so much for coming back and thank you for your support. Okay, so today's video, I wanted to talk about working from home, specifically trying to figure out if working from home is really for you. Now, with what's going on in the world, a lot of us have been forced to work from home if you haven't already been doing so prior to. And honestly, it's just not made for everybody. It sounds good to be able to just wake up, not have to commute, get ready, and do your work from the comfort of your own home. But for some people, it just doesn't work out that way, and it's not the best setup. So I am going to give you a few questions to ask yourself to see if working from home is really for you or if an office environment would be better. So if you are interested in just kind of hearing my take on it, go on ahead and stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing that you really want to ask yourself is, are you productive without supervision? Now, what I mean by that, obviously this is going to be different if you're working for a company where you actually have somebody that you answer to, as opposed to being an entrepreneur and, working your own business. But what I mean is, are you able to do your work and be productive without someone standing over you? Now, just to kind of speak to my experience, it was kind of tough in the beginning when I first started working from home, only because I had so much, I felt I had so much freedom. Didn't really, but I felt I had so much freedom because there was nobody in my home to tell me, okay, do this, I need you to do this, whatever. The only way that my manager would know if I wasn't doing something is if my number slipped or she was getting a lot of calls from customers saying that they hadn't heard from me, really stuff like that. So in the beginning, I had a bad habit of just kind of doing things around the house that I normally wouldn't have the time to do until after work, or watching TV shows that I shouldn't have been watching until I had a break or something like that. So I think that it's important to just be honest with yourself, to just see, like, are you trustworthy enough to be able to get your work done and be productive without someone standing over you? It's not something that you cannot get over, but I think a lot of it really is just planning and making sure that even though you're working from home, you still treat it as if you're going into an office and as if someone is watching what you're doing, so you can, not have anybody on your back asking you what you're doing in your spare time. Now, regarding discipline, what I like to do since I work from home is I like to have my phone by me, just because if I get an important call, obviously I need to take that, but I like to set like time blocks. So I know that, from this time to this time, I'm answering emails, or from this time to this time, I'm making calls. So I cannot touch my phone. And the only time I'm allowed to touch my phone is when I have my 15-minute break, which most jobs will give you 2 of those per day, or your lunch break. So I try to just not do anything personal unless it is my personal time, and that way it just keeps me on track and honestly just keeps me off of my boss's radar. Okay, so the second thing that you're gonna wanna ask yourself and be honest is, are you okay working in solitude? So because I've worked in both office environments and from home for the last several years, this is a big one. So for some people, they love and thrive off of that office environment. Like, you make friends in the office, or you have your work friends, you guys meet in the break room, you guys shoot the ish on your breaks, or like between customers and calls, and then you go back to your desk and do what you gotta do. When you're working from home, you don't have that. It's typically just you. If your spouse or whoever you live with works outside of the home, then it's just you for those 8 hours, and then multiply that times 10 if you live by yourself. So you're spending a lot of hours alone. Now, unless you're in a field position, which I've worked before, where I wasn't working with my coworkers on a daily, but I was able to get out and just meet with people, that was a little different. But I've also had jobs, like the job I have now, where I do work from a desk and I do not leave. So I am home. I am okay with that. I'm fine. I actually thrive in that environment because I don't have anybody constantly coming to my desk to talk when I just don't have the time and I need to get work done. I just feel like I'm able to get more work done. And it's tough because I do have my toddler home with me, but it's a different type of stress, I guess you could say. So you have to really decide if that's something that would work for you, Are you the type of person that, would get depressed if you're in solitude? Like, is your home set up to where you be comfortable being there all day? You need to really ask yourself those questions before you take a work from home position. Now, for some people, it might be better to have maybe only a few days where you work from home out of the week. I know there are some job setups where you work from home for like more than 2 days and you go in the office the other days. And there's some jobs that are strictly all work from home. Obviously, the traditional would be for you to work in an office 5 days a week. So really figure out if you are okay with that alone time, and if so, how much alone time, to decide if working from home is truly for you. Okay, so the third thing that you want to consider before taking a work from home position, if you're not already in one, is do you have the space in your home to dedicate to work? So this is important because, so I did a video a couple of months back about just having a dedicated workspace. I will link that somewhere here, but it's important to have some place that you can associate with work so you can be more productive. Now, I fell into the trap of like working from my bed because I did have a job where I worked with a laptop, and that was kind of detrimental for a couple of reasons. It got to a point where, because I was in bed working, sometimes it was hard to separate work from personal time, and you don't want that to happen because you can easily fall into that trap. So my suggestion is, even if you're in a small place, dedicate like a specific area. Even if it's small, just make sure that it's comfortable and that it has everything you need to succeed at work. Make sure that you have like a place that is only for work. Right now, because I live in an apartment and it's not a big apartment, I basically took a corner of my son's room and turned that into like a makeshift office. But it's perfect because it's close to the kitchen, it's close to the bathroom. So, I mean, I just have everything around me and I'm good to go. And it's a place for me to just kind of be able to zone out, get my work done without having to have too many distractions. So that worked for me. See what works for your home, and if you don't have a place like that, then you may need to create it if you truly want to be in a position where you don't have to commute to an office. Okay, so the fourth thing that you want to consider before working from home is, are you resourceful? Now, what I mean by that specifically is there are going to be things that come up in your jobs, or even if you're an entrepreneur, there are going to be things that come up, and for some people, they prefer human interaction. They prefer to have people around them so they can just go and quickly ask a question, ask them how to do something, ask them if they've ever handled something before, stuff like that. So I am the type of person, I try to find the answer on my own before I go ask someone. And I only do that not because I don't want to talk to people, but I do it because I feel like if I can find the answer on my own, then I'm more valuable as an employee. And then honestly, it just really helps me. That's what I do in my personal life. I try to look for ways to do things before I just straight up ask someone. I'm not against asking people. I do think that you should ask for help, but working from home, again, you're going to be in solitude and there's not like people around you that are just accessible all the time. So, you might be in a situation where you have to call for help and people aren't available. Are you okay with that? Are you the type of person that is able to figure out what you need to do as opposed to getting just stuck and not able to move forward until you get that answer? Are you able to do that on your own? If you are not able to do that, then you might want to figure out how to do it. Or if that's something that kind of intimidates you or is a problem, then maybe working in an office environment is a better situation for you. Okay, so my last question that I think it's important to ask yourself before you work from home is, are you able to separate your personal life from your work life? Now, this is a big one. If you have watched any of my videos or even follow me on Instagram, if you're not, go on ahead and do that. But I'm big on self-care. And part of self-care is knowing when to tend to yourself, tend to your family, tend to your friends, your personal life, and kind of check out of work. Work is going to be there. Typically, we're there for 8 hours a day plus. And so you want to make sure that you are able to separate that. Now, working from home, it can be difficult because you're already home. So in an office, you have an end time. And a lot of times you're trying to get out of there as close to that end time as possible so you can beat traffic, get home to your family, come home, make dinner, do what you got to do, stuff like that. Typically, offices have hours, so you usually aren't able to even be there, with the exception of some. But a lot of offices, you're not able to be there before a certain time or after a certain time, so you don't really have that option to stay later even if you wanted to. Now, when you're working from home, you're home already. So it's really easy to you know, do overtime every day because you're already home. So it's kind of like that, oh, let me just get this done, let me just get that done. And before you know it, it's super late, you're burnt out, and you know, you still might have other things you have to do to tend to your home. So if you are the type of person that's not able to turn it off, working from home may or may not work for you. If you're able to kind of create those time blocks that I was talking about earlier, and then just have like a set time that you stop, then you'll be in a much better position. But for your mental health, you do need to be able to separate that. And again, just for some people, that's tough when you're already at your home. So figure out if that's something that you are able to do. And if not, you might want to, you know, figure out if working from home is the best thing for you at this time. All right, everybody. So that is all I have for you today. I hope that those questions helped you. I know that, again, a lot of people are wanting to work from home now just because of what's going on in the world. So obviously, like, post the situation, things are going to look a lot different. But at the same time, you want to make sure that whatever you're doing is the best for your lifestyle and your personality. So I just wanted to kind of shed some light, because I know for me, working from home looked a lot different than what I thought it was going to look like. I was able to adapt, but not everybody is able to. So just make sure that you're making the right decision for you. If you enjoyed this video, go on ahead and give me a thumbs up. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you have not subscribed already, go on ahead and click that subscribe button below, and be sure to turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any of my future uploads. With that being said, you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time.
I need a bag, size is super. They turned your bag, it's like I never knew you. Leave that, in the past. Leave that,